In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a feature with a product-first mindset. And what do we mean by product first? Well, in a tech company that builds software products, product management and engineering really go hand in hand. Product managers, they focus on strategy and speaking to users and discovery and defining the goals of the product. Engineers are all about bringing that strategy to life, writing the actual code and building the product itself. But here's the thing, those roles aren't as separate as they used to be. I've shown this Venn diagram before and it's worth showing this again. There's a growing overlap between product managers and engineers. These days, product managers are becoming increasingly technical. So there's AI tools, code generation, low-code platforms. Many of those product managers are starting to actually write code themselves. And on the flip side, engineers are becoming much more product aware. So engineers aren't just building what's on the ticket, they're starting to ask, why are we building this, who's it for, and what outcome are we trying to drive? So as an engineer, you basically have two paths for growth in your career. You can either get better at engineering, learn more languages, more frameworks, more architectural patterns, that sort of thing, or you can level up your product thinking and you can grow in that direction. You can build the kind of intuition that helps you shape better features, solve real user problems, and drive a lot more value in collaboration with the product person on your team. And that's what this video is all about. This video is about growing into that center space of the Venn diagram. In this video, we're going to take a basic feature, so just a small, simple feature, and walk through how we might build that with a product-first mindset. So here's the feature. Imagine you're working on a website and that website displays a list of articles, kind of like a blog or a news site or something like that. And you want to add the ability for users to favorite an article. So you want to put this little heart icon next to each article here. People can click on the heart icon and it will show up as a heart. Now, without a product-first mindset, you might look at this basic requirement and implement it something like this. So let's just say this is an article object that we've got stored in a database somewhere. It has an ID and a title and a content. And you look at that design and you go, okay, we need our articles to have a Boolean flag on them that says whether they've been favorited or not. So you might come along and you might say is favorited and call that a Boolean, store that in the database, change the UI so that when you click the heart, it sets that to true. Now that might look good at first glance and this might represent well on the page, but actually this is really not a very good solution because this solution is looking at that wireframe, it's seeing the title and the content and whether or not that heart is lit or not, and it's mapping that directly to the database. What it's not doing is thinking about how users are actually going to use this. And if you think about how a user will favorite an article, it's actually not favorited on the article. It's actually favorited per user. So really, you don't want that. You want a many-to-many mapping between articles and users so that a user sees just the article that they have favorited themselves. So a better solution might be, instead of that, create a new class or object in your database, and we'll call it user favorite. That will have a user ID, which will be a string, and an article ID, which will be another string, and then it will have maybe a created at timestamp like that. So the presence of one of these objects in your database creates a many-to-many mapping between users and articles. And when you click favorite on the UI, it will add a record like this into the database. And when you read out the articles, you could do a left join or you could join it on the front end with this table here. So you're actually only showing the article that the users favorited. So that's a much better solution because that's actually thinking about the user experience and it's not just trying to map this blindly to the database. But that's still not the perfect solution. Because real product-focused engineers will do more than just think about the user. They'll actually think about the direction and the roadmap of the product. Let me explain. Here we've got a list of articles on the page, but this is part of a wider website. And it could be that elsewhere on this site, there's videos and they can see a list of videos, or maybe there's products and they can see a list of products. And so you can probably think far enough ahead and think, if I'm being asked to add in a feature so that a user can favorite an article, it's a very good chance that if that feature is successful, then somebody will want to go on and favorite a video or favorite a product or something else. So you might want to actually invest a little bit more time at the start to make this a little bit more generic because you know where our product roadmap is going. So instead of having user favorite with an article ID, a better solution at the start might be to do something like this. Create a favorite object with a user ID, and then we'll have an entity ID. And that entity can be either an article, or it can be a video, or let's just say it's an event or something like that, and I created that. So now we have a super generic way of allowing a user to favorite any of these entity types in our backend. Now, even though the original feature might have said we're only allowing users to favorite articles, by thinking ahead like this, you're actually considering the entire direction and the roadmap for your entire product and putting in the work now to make it a lot easier in the future to allow users to favorite events. Now, there is a balance here. This could be seen as over-engineering. A lot of people would say we should just stick to the scope of the feature being built at the minute, and there is definitely an argument for doing that. But you also need to balance this with what you think is going to happen with the product. And it could be that there's a very real chance that right after you've done the articles, you're going to go onto the videos and getting onto the events. Maybe you can have a look at your company's internal roadmap and see if favoriting is on the roadmap for the video team, right? It might be. So if you can have that context in mind, you can write the code in a way that will allow it to be generic across those use cases in the future. And when you start thinking like this, when you bring that product intuition into your actual engineering work, you really level up as an engineer. You become more than just somebody who writes code. You become somebody who shapes the future of the product and makes the product development a lot more efficient, a lot more forward thinking. So that's the overlap, and that's where the magic happens. And honestly, this is one of the best ways to grow in your career, especially if you're in a more senior engineering role and you're working at a product-driven company. Then learning some of these product skills is extremely valuable for your career. So thanks for watching. If you found this useful, let me know in the comments. If there's a feature or product challenge that you'd like me to break down in a future video, then I'd love to hear about it. But until then, my name's James, and I'll see you in the next video.